me, Vicky Marie. How are we all? Happy Sunday, of course. Hope you're all well. Hope you're all having a little relax, a lie-in this morning. If you're an England fan like me, your voice will be hoarse. So my voice is already hoarse after all the shouting that I did yesterday. But anyway, we got the result we needed. England won, so yeah, come on England. Anyway, here in Spain, my name is Vicky, just in case anyone's watching that hasn't seen me before. My name's Vicky. I do videos about true crime, missing people, about all sorts of things. Whatever I think I find interesting or what my chatters will find interesting. And I live in mainland Spain. It is now 12:37 in the early afternoon. It's really hot here in Spain already. And, you know, going back to the theme of what I have been saying to everybody, if you're going away on holiday this year to a hot country, please be careful in the heat. I mean, literally, it is only, you know, it's not even 1 o'clock yet. This morning I went to the supermarket at 9:30. It was 26 degrees. People were, as I was driving there, I saw people running, walking, on bikes, etc. You know, great at that time. That's about, you know, up to maybe you could probably do it up to about 11 o'clock. But when the sun really starts to climb high in the sky, you shouldn't be doing anything but sitting quiet at home, really, or in the shade somewhere, you know, on the beach, but under an umbrella. You know, don't take chances with this weather, because that's what leads to a lot of things that go wrong for people when they're on holiday, isn't it? A lot of it is to do with the weather, combined with all the other things we do when we're on holiday, like drink too much, do stupid things, maybe take drugs, stay out all night, think we're invincible. And of course, we're not. So this does not only apply to Jay Slater, who's a young lad, but we saw it with Dr. Michael Mosley taking a wrong turn, you know, thinking he was a fit, healthy guy, and he ended up collapsing and dying. You know, so we just have to take all this into account. When you're in a country that is so much hotter than your own country, so you're not even used to the heat either. You know, if you lived there, maybe you'd have developed tolerance to it. But if you don't live there and you haven't developed a tolerance to it, then you've got to be so careful. And of course, that's probably contributed to whatever's happened to Jay Slater. It certainly contributed to what happened to Michael Mosley, the TV presenter. So what we're going to look at in this, first of all, I just want to say thank you to everyone. My little banner at the bottom there. All of you have picked up quite a lot of new subscribers lately. Thank you so much for that. Subscribing to my channel and liking my videos is completely free, and it's a good way you can help me out if you enjoy my content. Special thanks to my members. Members only lives we have on Tuesdays and Thursday evenings. Also, if you become a member, you unlock the special members emojis, and you really help in a big way then to support my channel. Thank you so much. I appreciate every single member. And also thank you to those of you who bought me a Ko-fi or sent me a PayPal or gifted memberships or what's the other thing? Oh, super stickers. Thank you so much. I appreciate all of you. You're what keeps my channel going. You're what keeps me going. So you keep it's what keeps me going, like the support and the nice comments and the love, etc. That's what keeps me going, which in turn is what keeps the channel going. Okay, so today is True Crime with a Glass of Wine, because I have got in here Calimucho, it's called. If you ever go to Spain and you want a refreshing drink, but a little bit more than a Tinto de Verano, which has got no alcohol in it really, or practically none. A Calimucho, you can have, it's red wine and you can add to it Coke. This is Pepsi I've got in it. There was ice in it, but it's melted already. But it makes a nice long drink. You can ask for a Calimucho light. You get a Diet Coke. I've got Pepsi in mine, actually. In a long glass. Wine up to about their eyes and top it up with Coke or Pepsi or, whatever floats your boat. It's a nice, refreshing drink with a little bit, it's not got loads of alcohol in it. Well, you can make it as strong as you want. Depends how much red wine you put in it. So, yeah, true crime with a glass of wine today. So I'm going to say hello to everybody and then I'm going to start. Because what I'm going to talk about in this video, I was thinking about it all this morning. And I was thinking, God, nearly all the cases that we've covered recently include someone who's been missing. Either, some people have been found eventually, but there's a lot of the cases that we're looking at the moment, the person is missing, presumed dead. Some, even in some of the cases we're going to look at, someone's even been charged for that person's murder, but the body still hasn't been found. And why is it so difficult to find bodies in today's modern age? Where we've got the phone pings, we've got dogs that can search out electronic equipment and all sorts. We've got the internet and triangulation, and there's so much more that we've got now, but still bodies elude us in certain environments, and not only bodies that have been hidden. Because obviously if someone's gone to the lengths to hide a body, that's bound to be difficult to find. But even bodies that haven't been hidden, that died accidental deaths or supposedly. Look at Michael Mosley. I mean, he was literally 2 minutes away from the cafeteria where he could have got help, and his body was not found for days, almost a week. So I just thought, I think what I'm going to do is a video about that. There's not really any news about Jay except, the usual sort of news of the family have been doing this and the GoFundMe that and a bit of drama here and a bit, but real news like, that Jay has been found. I mean, I'm always expecting it every minute. I'm expecting there to be some news that Jay has been found. That's why I'm checking my phone. If I get a message, I always have to check it because you always expect, I know that the search is going on as we speak. So it could be any minute that Jay is found. Of course, we don't know that Jay is a body yet, do we? Anyway, let me say hello to everyone and I'll get started proper. Hi, Frigaria. Hi, Michelle. Hi, David. Hi, Kelly. Yeah, exactly, Michelle. No Samantha yet. I can't believe they haven't found. I really thought Samantha would be found by now. Hi, Chumba. Hi, Quizzical. Hi, Claire. Hi, Maria. Hi, Heather. Hi, Queen Kate on the Cook Islands. Hi, 411. Nice to see you on here. Mike. Tenerife. Well, Tenerife is a nice place to go in February. All the Canary Islands, I've been to Lanzarote in February because they are warmer, but it's always windy. It's windy. It's windy most of the time. That's the problem with Tenerife and like Lanzarote. So even when it's cool, when I went, everyone was walking around with like bright red faces because the wind really sort of burns your face. And what I found was when you're on the beach, if you were lying down, it was okay. But as soon as you sat up, the wind just whipped around you. And of course, it was blowing sand all over you and everything. But I think February is a nice time to go to those kind of places because they are a little bit cooler, but still warm. Because thing is, you go abroad, you want it to be warm, don't you? Don't go abroad because you want it to be, people who are in cold countries, when I go abroad, I want it to be cold. I want it to be raining because I live in a hot country. But if I lived in the UK still, when you go on holiday, you don't want it to be cold, do you? Yeah, also there's different kinds of heat, because I see Heather's saying that it was 110 in Las Vegas last week, but that's like a desert heat, isn't it? Here, where I am in the south of Spain, quite often it's not as hot maybe as Las Vegas or other parts of Spain, but it's a very humid heat. It's awful. It's draining. It saps your energy. You know, if you go somewhere where it's a dry heat, it's a different kind of heat. It's hot, but it honestly, you can, when it's humid, you could just literally be sitting here and sweating, not even moving. And it's horrible, you know. You feel all clammy, you're peeling your clothes off at the end of the day. Nothing feels comfortable. This way I'm always wearing this green, this is so comfy, this green top. And I lost it. I couldn't find it for a few days. I was like, oh my God, you know, where's my green top? It's just so comfy to wear. Got to wear comfy things. Hi, Jacqueline. Yeah, you could. Hi, Maka. Thank you so much. Okay, I think I've more or less said hello to everyone who's here. Hi, blank faces. Hi, Nanielle. Oh, no, there you go. I think I'm down to the bottom now. So you're all talking about the weather. Good. So anyone who comes in, if I may miss you coming in, but also thank you to people who are not in the chat but just watching from home. I can see there's a lot of people watching. Not everybody wants to join in the chat, but thanks for watching to you. Thank you to you as well. So as always, be courteous to each other. You can say whatever you like on my chat as long as you don't attack any of the other chatters or me. You can say your theories. We've all got different theories, especially in Jay's case, haven't we? There's just so many questions. Everybody's got a different idea of what they think happened to Jay or what the circumstances are. But nobody knows. Nobody knows except Jay himself, I suppose, and maybe the police know a bit more. And if he did come to foul play, whoever did whatever they did to him, they know. But really, we certainly don't know. But we've all got our ideas. We've got our theories, and each theory is just as logical as the next one, as far as I'm concerned. So I just want to start off with Jay's case because, of course, you know, the title of this video is why is it so difficult to find bodies? We don't know that Jay is a body yet. You know, Jay could be hiding somewhere. Jay could have been kidnapped, could have been staged, as some people say. You know, there's so many different theories and we don't know for certain any of it. So, but, you know, if he is in that park somewhere, you know, a lot of people think, well, why hasn't he been found yet? You know, and you're bound to think that because it has been searched extensively. There's been drones, there's been helicopters, there's been sniffer dogs. Currently, it's being searched by, well, Jay's family. I think Paul Arnott is supposedly still there. We're going to have a little look at his latest. I've got to quite look forward to Paul Arnott's videos in the morning because they're quite entertaining. And, you know, he's there. His heart's in the right place, I think, and he's doing something, I suppose. Whatever you think of him or don't think of him, I don't think he's, you know, the boss of the mountain rescue or the British police and things like that. I think that's just part of his way with his videos, etc. But so I do think his videos have been interesting. They've been informative for the terrain, etc. So I'm grateful to him for doing them. Okay, so let's have a look at his video to start off with. So yeah, we don't know if Jay is a body. So I'm saying, why is it so difficult to find bodies? May not be a body they're looking for. Maybe like that Spanish investigator said, that he's alive somewhere drinking rainwater and eating plants. But I don't think so. But you know, Nothing would surprise me in this case, ultimately. So I don't know if you saw Paul's video this morning, but it was quite funny because he's got a dog that keeps attacking him. He says this dog attacks him every morning. So let's just have a look.
Absolutely crazy. It's absolutely mad to be. Stop! Right. Right. Okay, chill out.
So it just makes me laugh. So it's typical little dog, isn't it? It's feisty. It's barking away at him, and you know, a few people have commented, and I've commented on it as well. Could be that he's trying to tell him something. You know, it won't be the first time that dogs do that. They have led people to, you know, things. You know, just don't know. Maybe you should just follow it. Maybe it's barking at him and saying, "Oh, here's that guy that's searching for Jay. Come on, I'll show you where he is." You know, and I'm sort of half joking, but you know, who knows? There's been plenty of evidence of dogs telling people, coming to get people and tell them where to go, recognizing that a person can help. I'm not saying this is what's happening in this case, but I do think it's quite funny.
Hey, stop. Yeah, okay, stop. That's enough. Okay.
I wonder whose dog it is, because you're not supposed to leave your dog off its lead in Spain. And also there's been a new law passed. You've got to have insurance for your dog, you know, just in case it bites somebody or whatever. So this dog, but of course nobody takes any notice, not in the pueblos. You know, in the little villages and that, nobody takes any notice. Dogs wander around left, right and centre. You know, it just doesn't happen. So of course this is like a little mountain village, isn't it? This dog's just, I mean, it's well fed and well cared for, so it obviously belongs to someone, but it's just free to do what it wants. And that's pretty typical in villages in Spain. You know, it's rare that you see them on a lead, to be honest. Determined not to let him go past.
Okay. So this is the famous dog as well that keeps attacking me. It's absolutely crazy. It's absolutely mad to be. Stop! Right.
Sorry, I shouldn't have.
Right. Okay, chill out.
I mean, he's been quite kind to it, actually. Well, you don't know if when the cameras are not rolling, he gives it a little kick or not. I hope not. But it's a feisty little thing. It's not actually biting. But, you know, little dogs can do a lot of damage, just the same as big dogs.
Hey, stop. Yeah, okay, stop. That's enough.
So that was one of his videos this morning. And then this is his latest one. Yep, he's going off searching.
I'm just heading up to one of the search points. I'm going to do a few hours of searching this morning. Then about 12 o'clock this afternoon, I need to go get a SIM card, another SIM card.
Another SIM card, the saga of the SIM cards.
But this SIM card, I need it to actually allow me to make phone calls. Because the one I've got at the moment is just internet. Now, I don't know if it's just because it's a Sunday, but this place is empty, guys. Normally there's like tourists everywhere and people from all around the world. I've noticed there's a lot of French people over here. Well, people from everywhere, to be fair, guys. But it's just empty. I've just seen Pedro. I don't know what Pedro was doing. He's obviously been awake a lot earlier than me this morning. Must have been driving up the mountain.
So Pedro must have forgiven him now, because the other day he said he'd rang the police on him. But I think what he'd probably done, Pedro, was rang the police because Paul hadn't come back, had he? And Pedro was probably worried that he might have come to the same fate as Jay, whatever that is.
Maybe up to the supermarket up here to where the Airbnb is. And then back down. I think that's what Pedro's been up to. But we gave each other a big wave this morning, so he's definitely out and about. But yeah, guys, today just going to crack on with the same area where Jay's phone last pinged from. That's the area that I want to search. It's just such a vast area. Ideally, we'd have like 100 men walking in a line, just sweeping the whole thing. But that's we gotta work with what we've got, guys, and we're going to do our best. So,
but surely with the money in the GoFundMe, they could afford to pay 100 men to walk in a straight line. You know, for a day, if you say even if you're going to pay them £100 a day, they've got £50,000 in the GoFundMe. Surely they could afford to pay 10 experienced hikers. 100 experienced hikers at least for one day. You know, to do that. Surely.
okay, so much love to everyone. Just a quick update. Remember, guys, I'm not really posting on TikTok anymore. I'm just posting like a daily vlog every day on YouTube. So if you do want to stay up to date with the search and everything like that, and make sure you're checking out my YouTube. But big love, guys. See you soon.
Okay, so that's Paul's update. But what I want to look at now is different cases where it's taken ages to find someone. Because of course we've seen the terrain now. We've seen where Jay supposedly has gone missing. I personally think he's fallen down a ravine or something, and he'll turn up when maybe, you know, not in the place maybe that people would normally go to. But these hiking expeditions that people go on, hopefully one day they will find something. Because, you know, of course, well, I don't think those sunglasses that were found were proven to be his. You know, they haven't found his phone. They haven't found any of his belongings. So, you know, maybe he isn't there. It could be that he is not there. But if he is there, he'll be in a very tricky place, obviously, I think, you know, and it's not inconceivable to think you can walk past the same place every day and not find someone, you know. It's not, it wouldn't be unheard of for that, would it, to just keep walking past the same place. That's what happened with Michael Mosley. Let's just have a look at this Michael Mosley case now. Now, Michael Mosley's the TV doctor, TV personality. He went missing. He wasn't found. I think it was 5 days, was it, before he was found? And yet all the time, here he was with his umbrella. It's very sad, very eerie, isn't it, to see these photos of them just before, you know, he disappeared then after he was seen with his umbrella. He was reported missing. There were searches, there were drones, there was all sorts going on looking for him. And all the time he was right here by this wall, and just round the corner is the cafeteria, this cafeteria. You know, he was literally just round the corner from the cafeteria, and he was not found by the drones. He wasn't found by the search parties. And they think he died that very same day, that maybe he sat down because he was a bit exhausted and then just fell back. So why did it take so long to find him when literally he was, you know, right there? So this is the cafeteria. I don't know how well you can see this. This is the cafeteria, and he was found round about here, just at the wall. And he was only spotted, he wasn't found by searchers. He was spotted, wasn't he? Someone was on a boat with binoculars looking round and just spotted something that they thought was something black. But I think these are lessons for us to know how difficult it is to find someone. You know, you think it'd be easy, wouldn't you? You know, you think once you know where somebody's, well, he didn't have his phone with him, did he? So he had no phone signal to follow. I'm sure if he would have had his phone with him, they would have found him a lot quicker, because his phone perhaps would still have been operational. It just shows you must take your phone with you when you go out on these walks and things. You just must. But they searched with dogs. You know, they put out all the search and they never found him. And so he was found. It wasn't, there were drones. I don't know if there were helicopters, but there were definitely drones, and he was not found. He was just found by chance by someone who was on a boat scanning the terrain with their binoculars. And all the time he was there. People were there at that cafeteria eating lunch, having a drink, you know, for about 5 days. And he was there. It's odd, isn't it? You know, you think, you know, not meaning to be graphic, but wouldn't the body have smelt, or, you know, maybe because of the wind and the dryness, because this is on the Greek island, wasn't it? It's like a desert there. So he was one that wasn't found for days, even though he was right there under everybody's noses, bless him. He was there. And he probably died that very first day. Now, another one, of course, Riley Strain. That's a case that we followed. Now, this is a different sort of a different scenario, and there was a river involved. But they went the Cumberland River in Nashville. Riley went missing, didn't he, after a night on the tiles, or a day on the tiles. He was celebrating with his friends, his frat brothers. He was going from bar to bar. His autopsy did say that he drowned through excessive drinking. That was the result that was found. So it says he died from accidental drowning and intoxication. But he was missing for 2 weeks, nearly 2 weeks in the river. And of course, again, the longer people are missing and their bodies aren't found, the more rumours start up, don't they? Conspiracy theories, people saying that he'd been attacked. Let's have a look at this video. It's very sad, this as well. They're all sad, but
heart and prayers go out to you all for this very unfortunate.
I take you to Nashville right now, where police there say they found the body of missing college student Riley Strain. Let's listen in.
At a company that adjoins the Cumberland River that have been searching for anything that would pop up on the river, especially looking for Riley Strain if he would surface here. As they were removing an object from the river, they noticed what appeared to be Riley Strain pop up. The fire department was called in, retrieved the body from the river. The medical examiner's office reviewed the body, and we confirmed that it is Riley Strain. The family has been contacted. There are no signs of foul play at this time, according to the examination here at the riverbank. Mr. Strain still had the shirt on that he was wearing, still had the watch, and other identifying factors that helped us identify who he is. I want to say to the family, my heart and prayers go out to you all for this very unfortunate and tragic incident. I also want to say thank you to the Nashville community and the outpouring community of the outpouring support from the community in trying to help us locate Mr. Strain. I also want to say thank you to our USAR team and to the fire department and OEM and TWRA and everyone else, and including the media, for everything that you've done, for the countless tips that came in. We received nearly 200 tips as of yesterday that we were vetting out. So at this time, the family's been notified. There would be an autopsy more than likely sometime today, and we'll have a little bit further from that point. So thank you.
Chief, can you tell us, is there any other additional evidence that points you to the theory that it seems like you've been going after for a while now? It's just that he fell into the river.
So this is heartbreaking because Riley, when he walked past this policeman, he seemed to pull himself together, probably because it was a policeman, and the policeman said, "How are you, sir?" And he said, "I'm fine, how are you?" And then literally probably not much more than 30 minutes after that, he was probably dead in the river.
Theory that it seems like you've been going after for a while now. It's just that he fell into the river, accidentally.
Yeah, there's no other evidence that suggests anything other than we have reports that normally under these circumstances with his height and weight that he could have surfaced between 14 and 20 days. This is the 14th day, so we were really expecting anytime soon to find.
Yeah, now he's saying a little bit like what was said with Nicola Bulley, and we're going to look at the Nicola Bulley because she was, again, someone who disappeared for 23 days. And we all know what sort of frenzy broke out, speculation from that, and is still going on. And this sort of theory, that, well, it's not a theory, it's fact. I think that after 14 days, that's when you can expect bodies that are in the river to appear because they fill with gases. I mean, it's horrible, isn't it? And I think with Riley, it had been 14 days. I can just see in the chat, sorry, I've probably missed loads of you coming in. I'm sorry. Hi to everybody who's come in. But a lot of you are talking about Mr. Mosley. Yes, he was diabetic. So that's another reason why he shouldn't have been walking around in the full heat of the Greek summer, because as far as I know, he wasn't on insulin or anything. That's why he started all these fasting diets, etc., because he thought he could reverse. You can reverse type 2 diabetes with diet, and that's why he devised these fasting diets. But I was surprised at that because I always thought with diabetes, the trick was to eat little and often rather than, just a few big meals, like not to leave it too long without eating. But anyway, he did it, and he apparently did reverse his diabetes. So I don't know what his diabetes was like when he went missing, when he died. But, if he had diabetes people do suffer from dehydration. So, definitely shouldn't have been walking around in the heat of the summer. But now Riley didn't have diabetes. He wasn't walking about. I think with Riley, unfortunately, I really do think, and I thought it at the time, I just think he was very, very drunk. He may well have gone behind a tree to relieve himself or whatever and fallen into the water. I mean, nobody, we can't know exactly the precise thing that happened, but we could see when he was walking around the streets, he was falling over, etc. So it would have been probably quite easy for him to fall in the river. But again, a lot of people still think there was some foul play, and the trouble is how can you prove it?
In fact, our search teams was going to put in the water here this morning and then search from this point further down. So we were in the right spot. It's just unfortunate, but there's nothing to suggest anything other than any foul play at all.
You said that these were crews that were actually looking for him that found him?
Yes, that's so the workers typically on the river, whether it's barge companies, concrete companies, other businesses that actually are on the river, and they look routinely. It's happened countless times before. And as they moved, I believe, a barge, and don't quote me on that, they removed something from the river, and as they moved it, they noticed Mr. Strain. So and called it in.
Typically work on the water.
So it seems like Riley was trapped underneath something. So a lot of these cases that we're going to look at in this video of bodies that have taken a long time to be found, they haven't been found by the police or searchers. They've been found by accident. Like Riley was found by a worker. Michael Mosley was found by accident by someone who was on a boat just scanning the territory. They weren't actively searching the ground. If anything, they were searching like from the sea. And all the ones, I think, a lot of the ones we're going to look at were found by accident, even though they'd been being looked for so long. When they were finally found, some of them the searchers had given up looking for. We're going to look at one of those next. The search had been called off completely, and then they were found. But Riley, he was found by a worker. It seems that, you know, unfortunately, it was a tragic accident after drinking too much.
Weren't necessarily search crews.
Right. Yeah.
Okay, thank you all.
Thank you.
Okay, so the next one we're just going to look at is one that if you're in the UK, you'll know about. If you're in another country, you may not have heard about this. If you watch my channel, you will, because I covered it. And this was little Cielo. So this little boy supposedly fell into a river, fell into the river in Leicestershire. Now, he was not even found in the river. When he was finally found after the search had been called off, so everyone looked for this boy, including, you know, Super Sonar, whose little girl and boy fan base were out saying, oh, send Peter Falding, he'll find him, like he's some sort of miracle worker, even though he couldn't find Nicola Bulley. And in fact, he did say she wasn't even there. But, you know, he's got his little fan base. They put pressure on the family put pressure on the police. Off he went. He was only there 3 days. And then as the media attention waned, so did Peter, because he's only interested in media attention. But yeah, poor little Cielo fell into the river. Finally, so in February he fell into the river. He was not found until June. Bless him. And of course, it would be a tiny little body. And he was not found in the river. Now, it's important to remember that at the time, there were floods. You know, at the time that this happened, there was terrible weather, which impeded the search. Because, you know, it's very difficult to search when it was pouring down with rain. It was flooding, you know, across onto the meadows. And this is obviously what happened to Cielo. Apparently, he entered the water while he was with his family in February. And then first week in June, his body was found after workers had been in the area of Aylstone Meadows near the River Soar. So he was in the meadows, and again, it was workers that will have found him. There won't have been much left of him, I expect, bless him. But whatever clothes he had on, I suppose. And it's so tragic. It is so, so tragic, that poor little boy. So now formal identification has taken place, and the body has been confirmed to be Cielo. So look, we can see the sort of area that they were having to search. It's not, you know, because of the way everything had flooded, like it'd be a different matter now. I expect if you went to those meadows now, and this again will be what has happened as you know, the water drained away, presumably because of better weather, etc. These water levels would drop, and these poor men, they must have, and women, I don't know if they're men and women or just men, but they will have searched all this area. It won't be that they haven't searched it, but you can see that really is like looking for a needle in a haystack, isn't it? Looking for a 2-year-old boy, so not even an adult's body. I do believe, did they not find another body while they were looking for Cielo? What often happens is when bodies are being searched for, they quite often find other bodies, don't they? I mean, I'm still sort of swept away by that case. Was it in Ibiza, where they were searching for a guy who they thought had been swept out to sea on his motorbike, and they found 20 other bodies, but not him. They haven't found the guy that they were looking for. Even now, his father still doesn't know what's happened to him. Well, he knows what he thinks happened to him, but they haven't been able to find his body. But 20 other bodies, it just blew my mind that you could find 20 bodies when you're searching for one. So that was poor little Cielo. from the 18th of February to the first week in June. Eventually the search had been called off, and again found by a worker. Rest in peace, Cielo. God bless. So let's have a look now at Nicola Bulley. Just put some windows down. So yeah, I think we all know the case of Nicola Bulley. There won't be many people who don't know the case of Nicola Bulley. Nicola went missing in January. Was it the 27th of January or the 29th? And was not found for 23 days. Now, she went missing next to this river here. On the very first day she went missing, search teams were called in. The River Wyre, next to a bench. Her dog was running around. Harness was on the bank of the river. Her phone was on the bench. She was nowhere to be seen. And on that very first day that she disappeared, divers, mountain rescue, you name it, everyone who you could think of was called in to search that river, because right from day one, the police believed that she had fallen in the river, even though, of course, a lot of us don't believe that, myself included, but hey, that was the hypothesis. And, the police would now claim that they were right, because she eventually was found in the river. But she disappeared. Then these experts were called in, or so-called experts, as the family ended up referring to them. Peter Folding and SGI said, no, she categorically was not in the river. Days went on, weeks went on. And finally, she sort of came, it was a psychic, Jason Rothwell, going for a walk by the side of the river, saw her body coming down the river, and then it nestled into some reeds. And that was it. That was the body of Nicola Bulley. And we're now expected to believe that all that time she had been in the river. And, look, there's if you want to know more about the Nicola Bulley case, I've got a playlist. There's 186 videos or something like that on there. That's how complex that case is. And again, everybody's got their own theories. Was she ever in the river? Was she put in the river later on? Was it an accident? Was it a self-deletion? Was someone chasing after her? Did somebody push her in? There's, theory after theory. But what we do know is that one minute she was there, then she was gone. Nobody could find her on that first couple of weeks of searching, and suddenly she just turned up, popped up, just again where the police, etc., had said that would be a likely time for her to pop up, because it was after a certain amount of time in the water, bodies start to pop up, don't they? But when you look at where she traveled from, round corners, through areas that are almost, that when they tried to put boats through them, they couldn't get the boats through them because they were so shallow. You're talking about a river, slow-moving river, shallow. How did her body travel all that way, that over a weir, and then round this corner, for example? And this is like practically, that's like a sandbank. How would her body have gone around there without washing up here somewhere? This is another, big mystery, which ostensibly Nicola's body has been found. But what happened, and how did it get there, and why did it take so long for it to be found? So, it can take a long time in water for bodies to be found, as we saw with Riley. And Cielo. But they just seem funny in this river, because this is not like the Cumberland River. or even the River Soar in Leicester that was having all that rain and flooding. This is a very gentle flowing, shallow river, you know. So that was another one, wasn't it, that we're all still not convinced of, you know, questions still being asked about why that body took so long to find. So, you know, there's just so many questions still about Nicola Bulley. And as I say, if you're interested in the Nicola Bulley story, if you don't know the details, there is a playlist on my channel with many videos about all the different twists and turns in this case. But that's another case where it took a body so long to be found. Okay, let's look at another one now. Now, this is a sort of, you know, I'm trying to show some different cases with different alternatives. So some of the cases, like Riley, like Cielo, are not necessarily cases, or as far as we know, where there was foul play involved. Some of them there is, so you can see that it's harder to find a body when it's been hidden. But we've seen from those that even sometimes when bodies haven't been hidden, when it's just accident, it's still difficult to find a body. You know, it's not like on the telly when you watch something and, oh yeah, the body's found within a couple of days. It's not like that in real life, is it? And in this case of Tia Sharp, bless her, Tia Sharp was murdered by her own grandfather or step-grandfather. He was a grandma's partner. And didn't they search? They searched the house 3 times, the police. She was hidden. He murdered her and he hid her in the attic of their house because he had no transport, so he had no way of getting her out of the house. And of course, it was surrounded anyway by police, and also the neighbours, all the community came out, and, you know, so he couldn't get her out of the house. So he had hidden her up in the attic. But the house had been searched, I think it was 3 times. And it was only because the grandmother in the end phoned the police and said, look, there's a funny smell, that they went back one more time. It might be the 3rd time that they found her and found the body. So there, even though that body was right there and that house was searched a couple of times, Tia's body was not found. Or not the first couple of times anyway. So again, I do have a video on my channel about this case, poor Tia. It's very tragic. She was only 12 years old and she was killed by someone she trusted implicitly. She loved him like a granddad and he loved her in a completely different way, didn't he? It's almost a bit like the Stefan Stearns case. You know, young girls like that, or boys, you know, that she's looking for a father figure. I don't know, he was treating her. It's easy to groom young children. It is so easy, you know, if you're that sort of person, because he showed her love. You know, that's what Stefan Stearns said, wasn't it? She's Madeline Soto. She knew nothing but love in our house, Stefan Stearns said, after he'd been, you know, abusing her for years and strangled her and murdered her. That's what he actually said when he was interviewed. She knew nothing but love in our house. He was very similar, Hazel. He said, Stuart Hazel, he said she could have anything she wanted, you know. I bet she could. Oh, he'll have spoiled her rotten because he was trying to groom her. And I think the difference with Stuart Hazel was that particular night, that fateful night, of course, the grandma was out working and he was alone with Tia. And I think that was the first time maybe that he tried to do something. And she obviously fought back and didn't want to know, and that's why she died. So he was drunk, you know, he's a big abuser of alcohol. Anyway, he was caught. So the good thing is he was caught, but it doesn't bring Tia back, does it? That poor girl never got a chance to live out her potential. But that's another case of a body that took a long time to be found. even though the house had been searched a couple of times. Okay, the next one I want to look at, this is a recent one. This is Caleb Harris. I've looked at this on my channel. Caleb went missing in America, right outside his apartment. You know, there's, what do you call it? CCTV of him and his friends outside the apartment, all relaxed, etc. Let's just have a look at this video. Now, one thing I want to say is that they've said it can take weeks. It may take weeks to identify. It hasn't been identified definitely as Caleb yet, but put it this way, they've let his father know. They'll know from the clothes. I think, you know, I don't want to be graphic. It's a horrible thought, but he's been there a long time. I don't think the body is intact. Again, it was a worker that found him. You know, it would just be awful. It'd just be a case of putting him together again and trying to make sense of what they've found. It's awful, awful, awful for the family. So awful. But you know what? I think what can be more awful, of course, is never knowing if Caleb's body had never been found, although it's dashed any hopes, you know, that their son is coming home again. But at least they know what's happened to him. Imagine in 20 years' time, still celebrating his birthday, still hoping that he might just phone up and say, oh, you know, I'm okay. And, you know, I know that's a bit of hope and that's good, but I just don't know how you live with that, not knowing where somebody is, if they're suffering. You know, it must be almost a relief. And, you know, I don't know if that's the right thing to say, but at least knowing that they're with God, you know, depending on what you believe, but they're not sort of suffering in this world, and having answers as to what has happened to someone has got to be worth something, hasn't it? But yeah, so as far as I know, there's been no arrests made or anything. Now, if Caleb has not ended up here by accident. Someone has put him here. So it looks like it's going to be foul play. But first thing they've got to do is actually identify him. Somebody somewhere will be panicking. Oh, I'm not sharing, am I, as usual? Sorry.
Have to wait for a while before we get the answers.
Let me go back to the beginning.
And welcome to News 4 San Antonio at 10. I'm Jonathan Martinez. Tonight, people from Corpus Christi to New Braunfels are waiting for answers. A body was recovered in Corpus Christi just a field away from the home of Caleb Harris. Harris has been missing now for nearly 4 months. The New Braunfels native and Texas A&M Corpus Christi student vanished just outside of his apartment. Police say they understand that many people want answers, but they also say that will require a bit of patience. Tonight, News 4 San Antonio's Mandy Noel in Corpus Christi with the latest details.
We've come to Corpus Christi in the months since Caleb Harris disappeared a handful of times, and today we return after Corpus Christi city employees recovered human remains from this wastewater lift station yesterday around 3 o'clock. Car after carload of people pulled up down this road, and more of them even continue to come tonight. Curious neighbors, they want to know, was it Caleb? Was it someone else? In fact, Caleb lived in those apartments just across this field. That's where he disappeared from on March 4th. Police are working to answer those questions. This field, that's where.
So look, that's how close Caleb lived in these apartments. How has he ended up here? You know, it does feel that this is foul play, doesn't it? You know, because if you've, as I said, there are videos on my, if you put into Caleb Harris into my channel, you will come up with the videos about him. He was seen, you know, outside the apartment with his friends, looked very chilled, very relaxed, happy, smiling, no, you know, well, as far as we know, as far as the CCTV that we've seen, no arguments or anything. Maybe the police have more CCTV. But yeah, there's his apartments, and this is where this body has been found. And I think that the fact that the family were informed first, I think although the police cannot confirm, you know, with DNA yet that it's Caleb, surely with clothes, etc., that were found there, they do know that it's Caleb.
Where he disappeared from on March 4th. Police are working to answer those questions. Was it Caleb or someone else? We're just going to have to wait for a while before we get the answers.
We have to wait for the ME. Remember, the police do not identify remains. That's the ME's job. So that process is happening now.
Yesterday, city workers recovered human remains from this site. CCPD says the body was in an advanced state of decomposition. Identification will take time.
Probably a month to 6 weeks, depending on what they have available for forensics.
Randy Harris, Caleb's father, says he hopes and prays it's not his son.
Prayers and the best wishes for the Harris family is because it's my community. I live here. I am a bit of an outdoorsman. I'm a cyclist. I'm outside a bit. And Caleb went missing from parts of town that I ride my bicycle in. And it's just really close to home.
His missing flyers are everywhere, from Corpus Christi to New Braunfels.
A lot of folks looking for closure, a lot of folks looking for quick answers.
Police aren't sure how the body ended up in the sewage system.
So it's been pretty dry lately. And this tropical storm, I guess we got like 7 inches of rain over the whole event. And I think that just kind of shook up the sewage system, and wherever that body may have been, it just kind of flushed it out, if you will.
Police say there's no way to know right now if this was foul play or...
Yeah, because I think the general thinking is that maybe he was in the sewers originally and he was washed into there. I mean, it could have been an accident. Who knows? I mean, that crazy accidents happen, that's for sure, but it looks like there's not going to be answers for quite a long time.
Or a terrible accident. For now, we wait for the medical examiner.
At that time, we'll know whether we can bring closure to existing cases or start a new case, or even if there's any foul play.
Today, CCPD Assistant Chief Todd Green told me the body is undergoing an autopsy. It's possible we could have a preliminary cause of death sooner than we get an identification. In Corpus Christi, I'm Mandy Noel for News 4 San Antonio.
So that's interesting, is it? So we might get, I suppose, the big dog's just come down. Oh my God, hello. We might get cause of death before we even get an identification. Because you always think, oh, it must be really easy. You know, if they've got a bone even, you know, can't they just take the DNA and check it against Caleb's father? It just shows you, doesn't it? You know, we think, because I do think it's because of programs on the telly and stuff, you know, where everything happens so quick. Of course, it doesn't happen so quick in real life. But I must say, you know, if I would have been on a quiz and it was saying, you know, could you get DNA from a bone, you know, from a skull or from any, you know, even if all that was all that was left, you would think you just get, all you'd need to do is get the DNA off the whatever was left, match it against his dad, and you know what, you would think that it would be quick, wouldn't you? But obviously it isn't. So that's more torture for his dad, you know, and his family, his friends, you know, waiting. The waiting, it's got to be the worst, isn't it? So hi Tracy, hi Ali, hi anyone else I've missed, Kerry, I've probably missed, hi Heather, I think I missed, hi Coco. I try and say hello to people that I might have missed. If I did miss you, say hello again and I'll try and look and say hello. So that's Caleb. So So my point, if you like, of this video is all these bodies that have taken so long to find, all different circumstances, different parts of the world. You know, we've got Britain, we've got Australia. So Samantha. So let's have a look. We haven't had a look at Samantha's case yet. This is another case we're following. Samantha Murphy. Let me just put all these other things down. So Samantha Murphy, she was 51 years old, mother of 3, went for a jog again in February. February seems like a very, very dodgy time. It just feels like everything happens in February. Went for a run near her home, just never came home, did she? And there was it took quite a long time. You know, nothing was found, although the police declared that, well, first of all, they said there was no foul play. Then they said it was foul play. Then they said that she jogged for 7 kilometers and then been attacked in a deliberate way, and that it was murder, even though they had no body. But obviously this, because she was wearing an Apple Watch, so I think it's from her Apple Watch data that they knew exactly where she had been attacked, and they had reason to believe she was dead. And maybe it's because it stopped recording a heartbeat then, I would imagine. I don't know that, I'm just supposing that. Let's have a look at Samantha. And I've covered this case extensively right from the beginning, but it's gone very quiet now. Then suddenly they arrested this man, a young man, 22 years old, Patrick Stevenson, a local, an electrician, a tradie from the area. So this happened in Australia, in Ballarat in Australia. Suddenly they arrested him and charged him with murder, but he's not cooperating with the police. They have finally did find Samantha's phone, but they haven't found her or her clothes. As far as we know anyway, they haven't released anything about finding her clothes. Yeah. So we're waiting for her to be found. Now I just want to show you this because I did find a little bit of news. It's not really.
Husband of missing Ballarat mother Samantha Murphy has made a fresh plea for information as the search to find her body continues. Mick Murphy says he hopes the man charged with his wife's murder, Patrick Oren Stevenson, will start to cooperate with authorities. It comes after police spent more than 6 hours searching in bushland south of Ballarat yesterday. That location is about 13 kilometres away from Samantha's home in Ballarat East.
So they think she's nearby. You know, they're searching, the police are doing, I mean, it's a massive area. Yeah, it's a massive area. It's the bush, you know, it's difficult to search. It's just a huge area. She could be anywhere again. If she's hidden, you know, they could be literally walking past her, but they've used cadaver dogs. They've used these special sniffer dogs that sniff out, you know, electronics, and we think that's how they found her phone. So, and when they found her phone, there was obviously a lot of excitement because you felt like finding her phone, maybe it wouldn't be long before they found her remains, but still haven't found them. Patrick Oren Stevenson is an absolute twonk. He's not cooperating in any way. So he could make it all a lot easier by just saying where she is. Now, his trial's coming up in August. So what will he do? Is he going to keep this right to, you know, the knowledge of where she is right till the last minute, or will he give in and will he say where she is to try and get some, you know, lighter sentence? Who knows? But, you know, it's like a double offence to me, you know, where it's bad enough that he's murdered her and she's not going home to her children, and probably there was a sexual assault as well. It's likely, isn't it? That's bad enough. But then this is like, he's offending every day to me. He's offending even more every day that he does not say where she is. That's more offence, in my opinion. And he should get extra time put onto his sentence for every day he does not admit where she is. I think, and put that family out their misery of thinking that their partner and mother is just lying out there in the bush somewhere. At least, give them the respect of at least letting her come home, be buried, say a proper goodbye to their mum, to their partner. So where have we gone so far? So we've got Tenerife. We've then had in St Michael's on Wire. We've got Leicestershire in the UK. We're talking about America in I think it's, where is Kaylee Paris? Was that Tennessee somewhere, or at that sort of area? We've got Ballarat in Australia. So these are all different cases. What they've all got in common is they've been quite high profile, but they're all similar cases where remains have not been able to be found, or they've taken a long, long time to be found. Samantha's have not been found yet. Then I just want to look at another case that we've been following, which is Anna Knezovich. Now, Anna Knezovich is an American citizen, though she's originally from Colombia, but she's a citizen of Florida, or she was, and she came to Spain. I find this case especially poignant because she came to live in Spain, in Madrid. Let me just find some pictures of her and put them up. She was going through an acrimonious divorce with her husband. She came to Spain for a breath of fresh air, to start a new life. 40 years old, looks a lot younger. And starting a new life in Spain, was really happy. This is her husband, David Knezovich, the Knob, as I call him. Horrible, horrible man. So when she went missing, so one day she was texting her friends, the next minute she went missing in Madrid, in Spain. And then these strange texts appeared saying, supposedly from her to her friends and her family, saying that she'd met a guy on the street and they'd made an instant connection, and she was going off to spend some time in his holiday home just outside Madrid. And that was it. Never heard anything from her since. So David, he's from Serbia, and he said he was in Serbia. Although he's got a home in Florida and a business in Florida, which was their business they had together, he said, "Oh no, he doesn't know anything about it." His lawyer was all over social media saying, "Oh no, nothing to do with David." Blah, de, blah, de, blah. Anyway, then it turns out that David actually rented a car in Serbia, and when he took it back a couple of weeks later, the mileage on it was consistent with a trip to Madrid. Also, it had tinted windows, and it had a new number plate. Then the other thing that happened was, because in Anna's apartment building, the CCTV had been sprayed out by a man with a motorcycle helmet on. So it turns out it was him. So he had been in Madrid. He'd gone to Madrid. He'd sprayed out the CCTV with a black spray paint. The police, the FBI, have been working with the FBI, and they found that they found CCTV of David in Madrid buying this spray paint and duct tape in a local ferreteria. That's like a hardware store. Anyway, then for some reason he decided to go back to Florida, and he was arrested the moment he set foot on American soil. The FBI were there to arrest him, and he's in prison. He's been charged with Anna's murder. He's pleading not guilty. But of course, they have not found Anna yet. He won't say where she is. He's saying she's alive somewhere. She could walk in any moment. That's what his stupid lawyer said as well. Well, we're just hoping that Anna might just walk in at any moment. Well, she isn't going to walk in at any moment, because he didn't even spray the CCTV properly, and it turned they've captured him coming out of the lift carrying a suitcase. So not only was seen buying the black spray paint and duct tape, because he was, you know, not even clever enough to spray over the CCTV properly, they could see him coming out of the lift carrying what looks like a large suitcase. So the supposition, of course, is that poor Anna, who's a very tiny petite woman, was in that suitcase. Now, where is she now? Where has he put that suitcase? So the police, and in combination with the FBI, they are searching for Anna probably as we speak. They'll be following his data pings, how he travelled back to Serbia, where he went past, you know, using his phone as a guide, I would imagine. But, you know, even having all that information, it's still not easy to find someone. So I'm always waiting for that I look every day. You know, there's all these cases that I follow, like Jay Slater, Anna Knezovich, Samantha Murphy. Every day I'm checking for news of, you know, as far as Samantha and Anna are concerned, is that their remains will be found and brought home to their families. And I really do believe they will be. It just seems, you know, your heart breaks for the families of how long it takes, because it's just not something that happens overnight, is it? So that's Anna's case. It seems very unlikely that Anna is still alive. She was probably in that suitcase. They were having an acrimonious divorce. She wanted 50% of their business. He only wanted to give her 25% or something. So it's all about money. Money's the root of all evil, especially in this case. You know, and you know what? It's like, it's the worst of the worst, isn't it, this? Because, you know, Patrick Stevenson murdering Samantha is horrible. Of course it is. But he did not know Samantha. But this guy has probably killed a woman he was married to for 14 years. You know, it's like, you know, how could you do that? You know, how cold have you got to be? And we presume that David has got no previous convictions, you know, and not that Patrick did. But I feel like with Patrick, he's a serial killer in the making. Thank God Patrick was caught early, because he's only 22 years old. You know, how many other women would he have killed as time went on? You know, you don't just wake up one day and think, oh, I know what I'll do. I'll kill a jogger. You know, like these things build up for a long time. And as far as we know, he hasn't done anything before, Patrick Stevenson, but he's still young. You know, all serial killers have to start somewhere. And luckily he was caught, so he's not going to be able to do it again. But David is a different breed, isn't he? Because he's done it to somebody he knows, somebody he once loved, all over money. You know, he's not like, you know, I would presume that Patrick Stevenson has got some mental health issues. He's like a psychopath or a sociopath or something. But actually, I was watching a video about David the other day, and they were saying that they thought he was a sociopath. So maybe he has done things before. You know, you never know what might come out when. Again, I think his trial is around about August time. August's going to be a busy time for trials. So, yeah, Fiona Holmes, and yeah. So there's many more, just in these cases that I'm looking at here. These are more high-profile ones. But there's so many others. So I'm glad you mentioned that 411, because we'll have a look at Fiona. Because Fiona Holmes, this is a UK case. Her murderer, let's have a look. You know, I mean, he's quite old, elderly now, isn't he, I presume? I've told you 411, I think you should write to him in prison, because you might get something out of him. I've thought about it, but I don't know if I would get anything, because sometimes these people, Why won't he say where she is? So anyway, this is Carl Cooper, who was found guilty of murdering Fiona Holmes in London, I think it is somewhere, isn't it? Let's see. So he was described as a dangerous, violent domestic abuser. So he murdered 2 girlfriends a year apart. He's been jailed for life with a minimum term of 35 years. That's not a very good sentence, is it really, for murdering 2 women? 35 years for murdering 2 women. Why is it not life? Why is it not a whole life tariff? How do you manage to murder 2 women a year apart and you only get 35 years? I mean, he's not likely to come out because he's quite old as it is, but he's 66. So, yeah, he's going to be 101 when he comes out. But he's not likely to come out. But, yeah, Miss Hunt was found dead on her sofa and Miss Holmes's body has never been found. So here's Fiona. They look a little bit alike, don't they? Do you think he had a thing, makes you wonder if he chose Fiona because she looked a bit like the other lady, looked a bit like Naomi, because there is a likeness there, I think. So anyway, so he was told that I'm sure that you over many years have been a great danger to women. So she was found dead on Valentine's Day. Now, this resonates with me because, my ex-partner who stalked me, he actually, luckily for me, he actually, he deleted himself rather than deleting me. But the only reason he didn't delete me is because I never gave him a chance to catch up with me. I was moving from place to place, and these 2 women obviously haven't been as lucky as I was that I could do that at the time. But Valentine's Day, and I really think these important dates, Valentine's Day, birthdays, Christmas, in the UK, be like Thanksgiving Day or Super Bowl weekend. This is when things happen. I don't know if that's when people drink a bit or when they think more about things, but they seem to be, a lot of things seem to happen on important dates. So she told officers Handyman Cooper was obsessed with her and had been stalking her, leaving her really scared. And Miss Home of Catford, southeast London, had also made complaints to the police and had told a friend he had stabbed her with a screwdriver. And after she was found to be missing, Cooper stripped his living room, getting rid of curtains, carpets and wallpaper. Where has he put her? To me, he should have been given a whole life tariff just for the fact he hasn't said where Fiona is. How can he get away with not saying where her body is and only get 35 years for killing 2 women, and one of which won't even say where she is? Yeah, I think he's... he needs some redemption in the next life because he's going to hell, that man. He's going to hell, but he could get maybe a little bit of credibility back, couldn't he? Maybe a little bit of, maybe God would give him a little, if he said where Fiona was. While their mum is still alive as well. Because too often then parents, they go to the grave without ever knowing where their children are. Like... oh gosh, the Moors murderers, Keith's mum. She never got to find Winnie Bennett. She never got to find out where Keith was, and she's died now. So we still don't know where Keith is. His body's still not been recovered. So look, she said her father said, "I've been robbed of my future with my daughter." This was of the other lady that he murdered, Miss Hunt. "My only child, and it leaves me with a sadness that will remain forever." So the police apparently are still looking for Fiona. Kate Blackburn says, "We will remain committed to finding Fiona and returning her to her family." £20,000 police reward on offer for information leading to the recovery of Miss Holmes' remains. So if you live in Catford, if you know, I don't know, maybe to organise some search things or whatever. I mean, she's got to be somewhere. Where can she be? You know, you'd have to sort of, I suppose, go, where is he likely? You know, where would he know where to put her? I think it's always worth talking to him, though, as well, just to try find out. Because he would quite like, you know, he'd be bored shitless now, excuse my French. Maybe quite like a bit, you know, it's amazing what you can get out of these kind of people. So, yeah, there's another one. Poor Fiona. Or a poor family anyway. Fiona's in a better place, hopefully. But it's a family that are suffering. Okay, who else was I going to talk about? Oh, did you ever used to see Winnie? Oh dear, that's just heartbreaking, isn't it? I think that's all the ones that I wanted to talk about. But of course there are lots more. I mean, these are just high profile cases. You know, there's loads of missing people who haven't been found. Sorry, I was just looking for my glasses to make sure. Anyway, it don't matter. Loads of missing people that haven't been found, that are likely deceased, like Jay. Unfortunately, I'd like to believe that Jay is still alive, but I you know, I did in the first couple of days, but I just think every day that goes past, it's so unlikely. Yeah, just... So I just wanted to say, so bodies are hard to find. All those cases there, and they're just a snapshot, aren't they? Of God, how many missing victims are there? How many families waiting to be put out their misery, if you like, with the cold comfort of at least bringing their family home, their child or their partner or their mum or their dad or whatever. How many people out there, you know, wherever? I mean, we've only covered, like, you know, you're talking about the UK, America and Australia and Madrid, I suppose, Spain you could count, but there's loads all over the world, you know, and bodies are hard to find. So I don't think it's strange that they haven't found Jay yet, if he is there and he has died accidentally. Or even if he's died of foul play, I don't think it's strange that they haven't found him yet. Some people you never find. We've got a case right here where I live, and actually that came up on my Facebook the other day about this young lad who disappeared in, I think it was 2021 now, and his mum still doesn't know where he is. Just tragic, isn't it? I doesn't bear thinking about, you know, it's just awful to think about. Oh, Maggie, well, I hope you're right. I hope you're right. I like that. That's positivity. I wish I could be that positive. I honestly wish I could think that. I did in the beginning. As you know, I really thought he'd just, you know, he'd just wandered off and he'd got lost and they'd find him and he'd be in a bad way, but they'd get him off the mountain, get him to hospital, he'd be dehydrated and that'd be it. But I just don't feel it now. I haven't dreamt about him or anything, you know, like I dreamt about Samantha Murphy right in the early days, and I did dream that she was dead. I've dreamt about, and then of course another one, though we don't know if it's a body, is Sebastian Rogers. He's another one that nobody knows where he is. Summer Wells, you know, Madeleine McCann. I mean, you could go on and on. Where? So bodies are not easy to find, even when they've not been hidden. You know, so if they've been hidden away, like in Jay's case, if he has come to foul play and he's been buried somewhere, they're never going to find him, are they? You know, the best chance of finding him is if he hasn't come to foul play, really, isn't it? But so many, you know, bodies don't just get found easily. Yeah. He might be somewhere against his will. Yeah, it could have been kidnapped. That's almost the best case scenario, isn't it? So that's even his dad said that. He said, I hope somebody has taken him off this mountain. He probably prefer that he's being held somewhere. But there have been no ransom demands as far as we know. That's what Mark Williams Thomas said. That's what the mother, there haven't been ransom demands. So normally if someone's been held, against their will, there'll be a ransom demand, won't there? But who knows? Yeah. Yeah, some people hide bodies in their own houses and things, don't they? I mean, not for luckily, because Sean Hazel, who murdered Tia Sharp, well, of course, it was her grandma's house. So, but but the police had searched there. See, bodies don't start smelling for a little while. I mean, this is horrible thought, but of course the grandma noticed the smell because he didn't live there on his own. But other people that live alone, I mean, there's cases of them keeping bodies in fridges. Look at Jeffrey Dahmer, how many bodies he hid in his own apartment. And even though his neighbor was complaining about the smell and going to the police, etc., nothing was ever done. He got away with it for years because he was quite a sort of handsome, white, relatively educated guy living in the middle of a poor neighborhood. He got away with it for years because he was picking on ethnic minorities, and the police took him more seriously than them. It's terrible. Oh gosh. Well, and look at the Rose West and Fred West, all those people buried under the patio. Dennis Nielsen, Peter Tobin. It's not, if it's even harder to find someone if somebody's deliberately hidden them. But I think my point of making this video is a thinking of how difficult it is to find bodies, even when they're not been hidden. They've not actually been hidden. Like water doesn't give up its secrets easily, does it? Rivers can take ages for bodies to turn up. If it's the sea, it's even harder, or a bushland and places like that. Look at that actor, Julian Sands. I've highlighted him a couple of times on here. Went off hiking in Arizona. Wasn't found for months and months, and was found by hikers. So you may know Julian Sands, you may recognize him from various films that has been. But when a group of local hikers started up Mount oh, hang on, let me share it. So again, this is another one, went off hiking on his own. I just couldn't, they're doing the right thing. There's a team of hikers. I don't get hiking anyway, especially not in these sort of environments. I couldn't see the pleasure of it personally. But if you're going to do it, make sure you're with a team, of course. So when a group of local hikers started up Mount Bald in June by way of a rugged and rarely travelled canyon, their organizer had a nagging fear in the back of her mind. I hope we don't find a dead body today. Like almost everyone else in Los Angeles hiking community. It was Los Angeles. I thought it was Arizona. I don't know why. She and her friends had followed the news of British actor Julian Sands' disappearance on the mountain in January. They knew that repeated searches by authorities, including one just a week before, with helicopters circling above and 80 people scouring the rocky terrain had come up empty. They also knew that the last known ping from Sands' cell phone put him on an icy ridge below the summit, where an inadvertent step could have sent him sliding uncontrollably into the remote canyon they were about to climb. So the hikers weren't completely surprised when 3 hours into their ascent, one of them spotted a boot. They found another boot a few yards up the hill, then some trekking poles and some bones. Close by, they came upon a pile of dark winter clothes, and in a pocket they found a wallet with a driver's license. And the chiseled, angular face staring back at them was all too familiar. The name erased any lingering doubt. Julian Richard Sands. So he's quite a famous British actor. And he'd been missing for ages, months. And he'd been searched for. He was searched for. So it just shows you. And other hikers will have gone up and down there, you know, in that time. 5 months he'd been missing. So we must never think that, you know, people should be found instantly. It doesn't happen. So, yeah. Gosh. So he was in the room with a view in the killing fields. Now, I know he's an experienced climber, but again, he's 65. You know, sometimes do you think people, you know, I don't like thinking of age as a barrier to most things, but to some things, you know, your body does, you know, I used to walk a lot more than I walk now, and that's just walking. I've never liked hiking or anything like that, but I used to like squash, you know, playing squash, but I was struggling to play squash now. You have to do everything more slowly and not quite as, you know, not quite as adventurous. How many times do we hear of experienced hikers going missing and being found dead? You know, even younger ones, not only older ones. So he was reported missing on January the 13th. And of course, then the weather all contributes into finding them. That's the problem up in Tenerife. You know, the weather is a bit weird up there, you know, so it's got its own little microclimate. 1 minute it's raining, then it's cloudy, then it's boiling hot. Yeah. So this is the mountain where Julian disappeared. Sad, isn't it? Very sad. Very, 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 very sad. Yeah, he was a good actor. You know, you want to look at Andy Murray. He's just had to pull out now, hasn't he, of tennis. You know, he's still a brilliant tennis player. I mean, none of us would be able to play tennis against him, I'm sure. But, you know, he's not like all the young ones coming up in their 20s and or even younger. He can't compete against them, and he's had operations. It's not, it doesn't, you know, that's just, in fact, if you're lucky enough to get older, you know, old age, the saying, old age is not so bad if you consider the alternative. It's like, you just have to learn that you have to slow down. My knees are terrible now, you know, I know that. They just are, but then there's, you know, there's people a lot younger than me that have got worse problems than I've got. So you know what? You just have to do what you can do. But you do think you have to recognise your limitations. And going off hiking up Mount Baldy when you're 65 on your own, it's not even, you know, why not still do it in groups and things like that? You know, why go on your own to a dangerous place like that at any age? You know, that's what worries me about Paul Arnott. If he's doing it on his own, you know, I don't know what he's really doing or not doing, but he shouldn't be doing that on his own because it's dangerous. Yeah, it is a privilege to get old, isn't it? Susie Lamplugh, yeah. Well, they do know who murdered her, of course. They know who murdered her, but I don't think they'll ever find her. Susie Lamplugh. She won't get found. It's very sad, but they do know who murdered her, or they think they know who murdered her, don't they, though? He's another psychopath, isn't he? Tracy. Yeah, John Cannon, that's it. He's the one who is 98% certain to have murdered Susie Lamplugh. But again, there's another one where it's Helen, isn't it? Helen, the one over in Ireland. The person who was charged with murdering her, he's dead now. He died, but he died without ever saying where her body was. Her mum's trying to find her. I can't remember her surname. What's her name? Helen. But Peter Folding's supposedly been helping with that also, he says. So. Yeah, very sad. Now, to make you laugh, because of course that's all a bit depressing. But I had this really nice dream. Do you know, every morning I'm waking up now since the election. It's like I put on that community post. It's like that Dallas scene where Pam wakes up, and I know what you young ones out there, you won't remember it, but you know, Bobby Ewing died, didn't he? And then there was a whole series where he was dead, and then they decided to bring him back, and Pam, his wife, got up and there he was in the shower, like, so it was all a bad dream about him being dead for all that time. And that's how I feel now that we've got a different government. It's like waking up and it's like, oh my God, back in the real world. You know, we're back in the room. We've got proper government. You know, whatever happens in the future, at least it feels like somebody responsible, you know, that I'm not ashamed of. And also then last night I had this really lovely dream about Gary Neville, of all people. Now, of course, Gary Neville, he's from Manchester. He's a Manchester United fan, unfortunately. But he's quite political and, you know, I follow him on Twitter and I like the things he says, etc. I had a really lovely dream about him last night. I don't know if he'd think it was lovely because he's quite a bit younger than me, but I enjoyed it anyway. So very, I mean, it was nothing rude. It was just nice, romantic, let's say. So it was a lovely dream. It's nice to have nice dreams rather than it's nice to have nice dreams than nightmares, of course. Yeah, Jill Dando was another one, but of course, I mean, we're talking about Jill Dando. They did have her body. And that's a very controversial case, isn't it, Jill Dando? Because I'm not convinced that Barry George was innocent. I don't know about that, if he was innocent or not. So, but of course, I think it's one we'll never know again. We'll just never know. I don't know. But it's another one that everyone's got their theories on. But maybe we will never know until we meet our maker. Imagine when we get, you know, to the next plane or planet, we'll know what happened to Madeleine McCann, who murdered Jill Dando, you know, all these, was Nicola Bulley, was it a case of foul play or not? You know, all these, will we know all these, the answers to all these questions? Yeah, sorry to hear about your sister, 411. Yeah, life is it's difficult, isn't it? You know, it is difficult. Yeah, Maggie. I've got none left now. I've got to go and get some more. I'm on Calamucho, red wine and Pepsi. It's Sunday afternoon. I'm a bit sort of, what's the word? Still a bit hungover. I don't mean it hungover in the sense of alcohol wise, like hungover from the England match yesterday, because once again it was like a trauma, wasn't it? I said to Jack, if I get through this bloody Euros without actually having a heart attack, I'd be surprised. Can't cope with it. I'm even thinking I don't think I'm going to watch the next game. I couldn't watch any of the penalties. I just sat there like that and waited for the, for my son to either cheer or go, oh, oh dear me, just, why does football get you like that? It's only a game. It's only a game. Or it's not a matter of life and death. It's much more serious than that. We weren't jammy. We weren't jammy, David. Not yesterday. Not yesterday. We weren't. Saka's goal was not jammy. That was a fantastic goal. We played well. And our penalties, as our leader, Gareth Southgate, said, were impeccable. And you know what? We're so lucky to have Jordan Pickford. I love Jordan Pickford. He's my favourite player. Because, of course, he saved a penalty. I mean, he saved about 2, didn't he, when we lost in the finals last time? I mean, he must think, God, what more have I got to do? I saved 2 penalties and we still lost. So, no, we've got a good goalkeeper. The team seems to be gelling a bit more. So, yeah. No, you can't have Pickford. You can't have Pickford. Well, I'll have Gary Neville then. Yeah, I don't really fancy Pickford, but I love him because he's a character and he's so passionate. I like that. Yeah. Don't you think, though, Harry Kane is not really turned up this time, has he, Coco? I don't know. Don't look happy, Harry Kane, to me. There's something, I don't know what it is. He's not, I know he scored that 1 goal, but he's not really. It's been practically invisible the rest of the time, I think. I don't know what that is. And when I look at him, I just think he doesn't look so happy, but I don't know. He has lost his spark, Ali. I agree. I spend the whole match going, get Harry Kane off, get Harry Kane off. And my son, he's always saying, get Phil Foden off. Whereas I think Phil Foden's quite a good player, but maybe because he's a City player, I don't know. But yeah, to me, Harry Kane, I don't know, he's just not doing it this time. I know he's a good player, but it's just maybe he does tend to sort of find his spark later on, but he just doesn't look happy. He looks a bit miserable. Yeah, that's it. Calamucho. I'm going to go and get another one. Yeah, so you need a tubo glass. So this is a tubo, like a tube glass. And you fill ice, lemon. I like to put lemon in it. I haven't got any lemon at the moment, so I'll put a bit of lemon juice in it. And then, fill it up to there with red wine, and then the rest with, I've got Pepsi Light. So in your house, Coco, does Gareth Southgate go like he does in our house, from being an absolute gilipollas? That's Spanish for WANKER. And then the next minute is a genius, isn't it? Because we're going like, everyone's always like, put some subs on. Then, of course, when we went 1-0 down, he always waits till we go 1-0 down. Next minute, all the subs come out, and then Saka scored. But you can't argue with him really, because he's transformed the England team. I was trying to explain to my son, England, what we've been through over the years. Do you know what I mean? It's like, we always get there or thereabouts, don't we? It's rare that I don't think we ever not qualify. And then we normally get into the semi-finals, don't we? Or quarter or semi-finals. But under Southgate, of course, we've done so much better. But I tell you what, the team to watch for me is Spain. Spain are really good. And I don't want Spain to win because my friends are being insufferable, my Spanish friends. But they are good. Spain are good, aren't they? They're really good. And they're young and they're flamboyant. And, I think they're the team to beat, personally. Mhm. I didn't watch one of those penalties. I'm not going to watch. If it goes penalties again, I won't be watching them. I've just had my hands over. You know from the reaction of the crowd if they scored or not. I can't watch them. Okay. So anyway, I hope you've enjoyed the content. I hope you found it interesting. Just sort of occurred to me, we're expecting, any day, really, even now, within the next half an hour, we could get news that Jay's been found. It was interesting to read, when they found Julian Sands, of course, they've found, because he's been there for so long on that mountain, there wouldn't have been much left of him, but there was his boots and his ID, etc. I do think people turn up eventually. They're normally found by accident. It's also interesting to see how often they're found by accident rather than by search teams, so you can't, it's more, I think it's more normal for bodies to get discovered by accident, by dog walkers or by any hikers or workers or whatever. Seems to be more often that happens, and it is that they get discovered by search teams, isn't it? So yeah, let's hope there's news about Samantha Murphy soon. I say every day I check to see if there's any news. I think the police will still be searching for Samantha, but in targeted spots. Same with Anna Knezevich. I don't think the police ever give up completely. We think when it all goes quiet, we think they're not doing anything, but they are. We see that with Rachel Marin. Now, Rachel Marin, that other case we followed, of course, her body was found immediately, but it was the killer that took a long time to be found. And sometimes that would go so quiet, but it's all going on behind the scenes. Just because the police are quiet doesn't mean to say they're not looking. So yeah, that's possible, Maggie, because there were those bushfires at the time, but surely something would remain. I don't know anyway. Okay, so I will see you really soon in the next video. Remember to like, please think about subscribing if you're not already subscribed, and think about becoming a member and joining our members' lives on a Tuesday and Thursday. But most of all, thank you for watching. So yeah, prayers for all these people that their remains are found. And of course, Jay, we don't know that looking for Jay is a body yet. So we have to hold out hope. Okay, I'll see you really soon in the next video. And until then, may your God go with you. And I'm going to get another Calamucho light. Got to make the most of life while you can, because you never know the moment, do you?